Cooking with biomass fuels is a common practice in many different countries around the world. Biomass is natural material like wood, animal dung, and crop waste that can be burned as fuel. Producing heat energy with biomass is one of the simplest ways to cook, but is also expensive, unhealthy, and affects the environment through the cutting down and burning of trees. In order to tackle this, Practical Action set up a project to construct a new stove called the Upezi and tested it in 5 rural districts in western Kenya. Their aim was to alleviate poverty and improve cooking conditions within the home, saving fuel and time, and reducing the cost to people's health.
Cooking is an essential part of the African woman's life, and if she is able to cook in a clean and safe environment, the life in that homestead is radically transformed. The Upezi stove saves energy, it saves firewood. It also helps the woman to keep her kitchen clean and safe.
Practical Action believe in giving a hand up rather than a hand out. This cooperative approach led them to work closely with the KO Women's Group to design the perfect Upezi stove.
When we were working to develop the Upezi stoves, we could not have done it without the women potters who had the pottery skills within those communities. That was not us, that was them. And we worked with them to develop the ceramic stoves. The Upezi stove, being a ceramic liner, saves or conserves heat by focusing it within the firebox and directing it to the pot. In contrast to the 3-stone fireplace, which has 3 openings on the side and which leads to heat loss because the heat is going out in 3 directions besides the little amount that ends up heating the pot. For the Upezi, all the heat is concentrated upwards and is used to heat the pot that has the food. That is why we call it a fuel-efficient stove.
As the founding member of the women's group, Lucia Alia is chiefly responsible for the success of the project in her local community. Formerly a farmer, Lucia depended on reliable rainfall for a good crop, which in times of drought would leave her with no money to buy fuel.
Before I started using the Upezi stove, I used to have problems cooking. My old stove needed a lot of firewood, which was very expensive. And I didn't have enough money, so I used to have a hard time.
Now she is a qualified trainer. Lucia is able to employ laborers to mold the clay and make stoves, giving the KO Women's Group a good income.
When I got the new stove, my life became easier. I have been able to ask other people to come and mold the stoves with me, so I now have help with that and many other things too. The money I've saved means that I can now put on nice clothes and eat well with my family. My children can go to school, my kitchen is clean, and my children aren't in danger of being burned like they were when I only use firewood to cook with.
Despite people outside the village laughing at her when she first started, saying that she was like a child playing with clay, Lucia persisted and is convinced of the benefits of cooking with Upezi stoves.
My advice to people who want to use the Upezi stove is that it saves a lot of money. It cooks faster, the kitchen is cleaner, and it gives you more time to do things other than cooking.
Fuel consumption habits have also changed since the introduction of the Upezi stove.
The firewood I used to use for my 3-stone fireplace was wasted. A lot of heat was lost through the gaps in the stones. But now, with the Upezi stove, I can use the waste from my maize crop as fuel. I can even use leaves that fall from the trees to burn in my stove to make my tea.
With a variety of fuels more readily available to cook with, practical action believe this will have a positive effect on the environment too, as fewer trees are chopped down for firewood. But it's the improvements in the home that have had the most immediate impact.
We have seen instances where the social dynamics of the home have changed. The husband is spending more time in the kitchen to talk with the wife and to discuss family issues with the wife. The children are able to spend more time in the kitchen with their mother. The mother is able to supervise the homework, and they're able to talk about family dynamics together, simply because the kitchen is cleaner, the air is fresh, and they're able to spend time in the kitchen.